It's rough out there, you know, in the world. Some of us turn to writing for solace and inspiration. Text that helps us take in the dark and find the light. So if you are someone who wraps themselves in words to warm your heart, or maybe just looking for a little help getting through the day, week, year, join us as we talk to people about the pieces of writing they use to bolster their souls and remember their way. The good bones that remind us we can make this place beautiful. Hello, and welcome to Finding Good Bones, a literary podcast where we explore writing that helps us sit with the dark and look to the light. So there, Amy, I did it perfectly. Ha!
It's because I wasn't helping that time. That's why it worked.
I am one of your co-hosts, Kate.
I'm your other co-host, Amy.
And welcome back, dear listeners. We're so happy to have you. Amy, what are you reading?
I haven't started this yet, but I just got the third in the series that starts with everyone in my family has killed someone.
Yes.
Then the next one is
everyone on this train is a suspect.
Everyone on this train. And then this one is everyone this Christmas has a secret. It looks pretty short. Yeah, it looks pretty short, like 180 pages. So I'm starting that like later today.
Yeah. But I love it that it's almost like the Christmas episode of like TV. I love it. I love the Christmas series.
Yeah.
The Brits are real great about that. I know America's like medium on it, but the Brits are real great about making sure there's always like the Christmas special.
Awesome. Well, here's the Christmas special. I'll report back.
Yeah, I'm excited. I still need to read the second one in the series, but I have read that first one and I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Were you going to ask me anything about me?
Kate. Hey, Kate. Kate, what are you reading?
I just finished I Kill Killers, which is a really fun book about a virtuoso pianist who she is not like a psychopath. Like she cares about people, but she doesn't have like super strong feelings. And she murders murderers.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's a piano playing Dexter.
She's not Dexter because it's not derived out of trauma. And that's one of my favorite things about this book and this character. Like a lot of times, you know, with the vengeance stuff, like the women that kill killer men, it's like, I've gone through trauma. And it's not that that's not valid, right? Some of it's because like, well, statistically, most likely we have been but
that sounds
in
good.
this one, it's not like, I'm exacting revenge on the people who have hurt me. It's just like, it makes me mad that they're alive and they're out there doing damage. So I'm gonna take them out. And
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm writing that down.
Oh yeah. Or I could just give it to you. It's a little, what's the word? Yeah, it's a little graphic in parts about like the murder stuff, and I know that
sometimes I'm fine with that.
I think you will be fine with it because they're murderers. Yeah.
I don't need gratuitous decapitations, but other than that, But are they gratuitous?
No, it's not a decapitation. Exactly.
Okay. All right. I will. You give it to me. I will read it. I will tell you how I feel. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Well, that brings us to our guest this episode, who I'm very excited, dear listeners, to introduce you to, Eric Hunt. Eric Hunt's original works have appeared in New York City at the New York Fringe Festival, the Dumbo Art Under the Bridge Festival, Manhattan Comedy Collective, the Makor, PSNBC at Here, Brick Studio, the John Houseman Theater, and numerous other venues. After a short but artistically bruising stint on the West Coast, he moved to Austin and took a rejuvenating break to focus on raising his children. These days, Eric is back to work, partnering with a local artist to develop Stagecraft, a cosmic horror FVN set at a confusingly horny small-town college theater department in the early 90s. There's nothing confusingly horny about small-town theater. Like, it all makes sense if you have ever been a part of small-town theater. Welcome,
yes.
Eric.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome.
Very happy to be here.
Yeah. I'm so piqued now about what does FVN stand for? Am I very stupid?
No, not at all. It's a very, very niche thing right now. That is a furry visual novel. So it is a visual novel, which is kind of played like a video game. It's like you have choices you make as a story. It can branch. And all the characters will be, anthropomorphic animals. Which, because a lot of the stories... Yeah. Because a lot of the stories are like based on real things that happen and people I know and things of this nature, it's a nice little separation to where no one has to admit that it was them. If they might be like, is that me? I don't know. Or is that just an otter?
Am I that?
Or is that just a sexy raccoon? I don't know.
Yeah, or not even like mad about it. Like, oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I hope I'm that sexy raccoon.
Exactly.
So you can apparently type in furry space V and you get furry visuals.
I'm so sorry. I do not recommend, dear listeners, that you ever type in furry V and search that unless you have it.
It came right up.
Unless you have safe search on.
I'm going to do some reading after the episode.
It's a safe space. Well, it's fine. Yeah. It's an art form that started out mostly as more pornographic, and it's since recently in the last few years it's shifted to become more encompassing to where anyone can enjoy it. I still say it's 18 plus.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay.
Sure.
But I want to honor its roots too, but
yeah, exactly.
It's
also,
more than that now.
You've said it at a confusingly horny small town theater.
Yes.
So that feels a little 18 and up.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So, Eric, what have you brought us today?
I have brought you, it's the Orson Welles film essay docudrama F for Fake. This is F for Fake by Orson Welles and Oya Kodar. Ladies and gentlemen, by way of introduction, this is a film about trickery and fraud, about lies. Tell it by the fireside, or in a marketplace, or in a movie. Almost any story is almost certainly some kind of lie. This has been standing here for centuries. The premier work of man, perhaps in the whole Western world, and it's without a signature. Chartres. A celebration to God's glory and to the dignity of man. All that's left, most artists seem to feel these days, is man. Naked, poor, forked radish. There aren't any celebrations. Ours, the scientists keep telling us, is a universe which is disposable. It might be just this one anonymous glory of all things, this rich stone forest, this epic chant, this gaiety, this grand choiring shout of affirmation which we choose when all our cities are dust to stand intact, to mark where we have been, to testify to what we had it in us to accomplish. Our works in stone, in paint, in print are spared, some of them for a few decades or a millennium or two. But everything must finally fall in war or wear away into the ultimate and universal ash, the triumphs and the frauds, the treasures and the fakes. A fact of life, we're going to die. Be of good heart, cried the dead artist out of the living past. Our songs will all be silenced. But what of it? Go on singing. Maybe a man's name doesn't matter all that much. What we professional liars hope to serve is truth. I'm afraid the pompous word for that is art. Picasso himself said it. Art is a lie that makes us realize the truth.
I love it so much. And you do such an amazing job of bringing the same like gravitas and lightheartedness, like that combination that Orson Welles brings when he's I love the stage directions here. Stalks mysteriously about the unnatural foggy gardens of the Chartres Cathedral.
As I was rewatching this morning, I realized he's not even there. Yeah, it's clearly like some B-roll of Chartres, and he's in some forest somewhere that's all foggy.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, oh,
yeah, there's a fog machine. It's not a natural fog.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Can you tell us a little bit about, this very hyphenated slash?
It is such an interesting film, and it was like when he made it, someone asked him if he was making a documentary, and he's like, no, I'm making something new that's never been done before. And it feels super modern when you watch it. The editing's really fast.
Yeah.
Just the whole tone of it feels like, honestly, it feels like almost like a YouTube essay you might find today, except he made this like in the early 70s. And basically what happened was he acquired, it starts off, he's examining an art forger, Emile is his first name, I don't remember, de Hortus. He lives in Ibiza, and he claims to have, over the years, sold hundreds and hundreds to museums and art dealers, sold all of these fakes in that he would say, oh, I found this painting by so-and-so that he had painted himself. And so it was all these great artists' works that they never painted. He painted them in their style. Yeah. So Orson Welles acquired this footage, and this art forger's biographer at the time, Clifford Irving, is part of the documentary that Welles is involved in working on at the time. And then as he was putting the film together, after they'd done all the shooting, he ended up getting busted for forging the Howard Hughes autobiography, claiming that he had met Howard Hughes on a pyramid. Yes. This happened in the mid-70s, and it was like a huge deal. It like blew up in the news. He says, it's where all the stories about him walking around, keeping jars of urine and walking around with tissue boxes on his feet, a lot of them came from this book. And it all ended up being a huge fake. None of it was real. He had his wife go and use Howard Hughes' granddaughter's name to deposit a money that then they said, oh, that was the deposit for the forward for the book, the deposit we gave him, the forward advance we gave him for the book, and he deposited it in the Swiss bank. But it was actually her in a wig. It had gone in to do all this. It was just a lot of, there was just all this crazy stuff. So he's basically, so then this whole movie is all about fakery, and then he winds his own history into that from his War of the Worlds broadcast that confused everyone and caused all this drama, to just movie making in general, like the whole art, all art is a lie. So he considers himself a charlatan and a con man and a salesman, and basically and
he is
and he is, yeah. And I think he personally,
and he's also not, because he's addressing that truth right. in this film. It's all very paradoxical, which he is gleeful about. You can tell.
Oh, he loves it, yes. And he loves all the gossipy stories about Howard Hughes. He does a bunch of stories about Picasso are in there. He's a big main figure in this as well. And I don't want to spoil. I really think anybody who has a chance to watch it should. It's a fantastic film. And I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a great twist, kind of. It's towards the end where you don't really know. I mean, kind of. It's like if you're paying attention, but it always catches me off guard. Well, it caught me off guard the first time. And it's just the whole breaking down the whole storytelling and how the best lie can really hit the sharpest truth sometimes.
Yeah. How were you? So you mentioned the first time you watched this. How were you introduced to it? Do you remember?
I think, and I don't think it resonated with me the first time I saw it. I think I caught it on like Turner Classic Movies in the mid '90s. It wasn't until around when the DVD came out. Criterion released a DVD like in the early 2000s, 2005, 2006. And that was when I got it again, and it really spoke to me. At the time, I was doing a lot of work. It's like I was working with this production company, and they were having me rewrite all these screenplays for them. And then my writing partner and I were trying to come up with all these ways. Like everything I was creating was so based on consumerism and based on the audience. I was writing for someone. I wasn't writing for myself or something that I believed in. I was writing for some nameless, faceless crowd. to please them or to give them something they wanted that I didn't know what that was. And I just was miserable. I really was not happy. And I think this helped me kind of refocus myself at that time. It gave me the freedom to be like, oh, I don't, it doesn't matter. I think so much of the art sometimes was about me, or how this conversation I'm having with the art. And really what this refocused me on was that it should be about the conversation that piece has with people once I let it go. It's like a kid, it's like one of your children, or like it's like once it's out there, it's not really yours anymore. It's the audience, and they're having the relationship with it, not you. And it's okay to let that go. If they don't even know you did it, that's fine, as long as they get something out of it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that it kind of re-energized me until I moved to LA, and then that all, just went right down the toilet. So.
Well, yeah, but let's.
So it lasted a few years. It was great,
Amy, have you ever seen F for Fake? I have not. I've never even heard of it, but you have sold it. I'm definitely going to go track it down. Yeah, I love this. I love this excerpt. I'm curious. So this is about finding light in darkness. Where's the light? Where does light come? I mean, I can see something, but where does it come for you? Where's that light?
The light is basically, it's a release of pressure to me. It's almost like it's that release of ownership, and knowing that it's not always, that I'm not tied to it, that I don't have to keep engaged with it almost. It's like, and that something will live on after I'm gone. It's like a legacy. It's a legacy that exists, but not necessarily that leads back to me necessarily. It doesn't have to. But I feel like it's something I've left behind that could make the world better, possibly, if somebody gets something out of it. That art can do that.
Yeah.
And it gives me hope. It just gives me a lot of hope that way. To where because sometimes, because like I was saying, I felt like I was banging my head against the wall doing all that work for so long, and it was nice to remember that I could do something that somebody could connect with 50 years from now, if they come across it. Even if it's just my grandkid digging through a trunk somewhere or something I wrote.
Oh, especially.
And if they get something out of it, then that's great. Then it's had some function, and I've done something good and left something valuable.
Yeah. I love that those lines, go on singing, maybe a man's name doesn't matter all that much. That seems to say exactly what you said.
Our songs will all be silenced, but what of it?
Good.
Because there is, and then I think he goes back to, or I think in the beginning he mentions the unnamed man that created Chartres, right? Right. That's kind of our intro into this, or at least it's at the beginning. And so, it's still here. We're still talking about it. We're still amazed by it. And no, we can't attribute it to a person, but that doesn't take away from its glory, right? From its existence. And I think that's really, beautiful. And especially, or at least, right now, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if everything will fall, right? Which is a little bit different than just like the naming of it, but go on creating, go on making it. Everything will fall. That we know.
Exactly,
whether it's a decade, whether it's a millennium, it will all turn into dust. And that's no reason not to make it now.
Absolutely. It's more reason to make it now. Because you need to share. Now you need to be in the here and now. You can't worry about, it's like not worrying about your legacy, even though I said it's nice to leave the legacy, but it's also about not worrying about the legacy. Knowing that it'll take care of itself if you connect with someone and connect with the art now and create it,
Well, but I think that's interesting, right? Were you having trouble connecting? Because what it sounds like your struggle with was more around, less about connecting to the people who would be consuming it and more about connecting to the work that you were doing. Did that permission kind of help you connect better to that work?
I think it did. I think it helped me. I reapplied myself to where so now when I was doing the work, I thought less about that and more about how can I make this more personal to me and what can I do
Got it.
To twist the word, to make it personal, but then still do the same things we were trying to do before. Still connect with an audience and make it more widely available.
Still fit the remit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but it didn't matter that you weren't necessarily knowing who this was for specifically.
No, I mean that's what helped. Once I made it more about me, then you have to trust that there's somebody out there who shares these same truths with you. I think, you find your truth.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's truth may be different. I don't know that it's not a monolith, I don't think, but the idea that there are other people out there that have your same truths, your same values, that something will connect with them like that. You just have to trust in that, I think, and just kind of let it go.
But that takes me to, because I think the other there are a couple of, huge juxtapositions in this piece, right?
Absolutely.
And definitely the here and now versus, some future is one, I think, named work versus kind of the anonymity of it all is another. And then we get into truths and lies. And coming back to like what art is a lie that makes us realize the truth, which I definitely have connections to because that's acting. Acting is taking a completely fabricated person and scenario and language and doing your best to make it feel true, to make it feel real. How do you connect to that in your work?
It's hard because I'm a big proponent. Like I always loved when I was directing for stage, like naturalism, trying to make things as natural and real as I could. I always was something I strive for because I just felt like then you could be crazy in other ways and do weird stuff, and it would land harder for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're always faking it. You can't really. It's not really going to be real or natural.
As real as as much as you can try to put realism into this, it is still all a construct.
Right. So it's like, but then it's just like pretending. It's like the way I play with my kids sometimes when I'm really 100% committed. It's not necessarily believing in the whole environment and the world you're living in, but it's believing what you're saying at the time. It's believing the words coming out of your mouth. They mean something to you.
Yeah.
And it's, it has that weight. Like you genuinely, honestly, feel that. Even if it's the most ridiculous thing in the world, which, it often is.
It can be.
Yeah.
It certainly can be. And so I guess that also it's a little out of the art realm, but do you do the fun thing where you lie to your kids?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Yeah, all the time. Me too.
It's not not bad lies.
Oh no, not mean. Like
no, I'm not. Yeah, there's nothing that would traumatize them after the fact. It's all little, but yeah, there are convenience lies. There are lies that will benefit them.
Yeah.
Definitely. We never have any batteries in the house, for one thing. I can tell you that right now.
Ooh.
There's actually a cabinet full of batteries back behind me. But as far as the kids know, we've been out for like the last 2 years. We've always been out of batteries.
Yeah. Especially for that drum machine.
Because most of the things I want to put batteries in, I don't want to have to listen to.
Yeah.
Because they just go on and on. Little things like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I think there's also, I come back to a lie that makes us realize the truth, but also like a lie that maybe accommodates for them to figure out the truth. Because I do think I very much subscribe to like being as honest as possible, but also being like appropriate about it, right? And so maybe glossing over things. There are some people, that whole like, is omission a lie? Right. I omit all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not that I don't want her to find out about these things, but maybe not right.
Yeah,
right now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I want her to be led to the truth, but at a I think at a time where it can feel true,
Yes.
right? And not, and be understood.
It won't be as abstract.
And not...
They'll get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I do that all the time too. I mean, you should. I mean, I think you can. You can overdo it. You know, until I was 7 or 8 years old, I thought people got pregnant when their hips touched when they were getting married, because I was always told there was a special way people touched when they got married. So I thought if my hip brushed against somebody, I might have pregnant them. Yeah. So sometimes you have to be careful with that. Yeah, just be cool. But you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the flip side, like we use anatomical terms in this household because my mom did.
Yeah.
Although that did lead me at a pizza place when I was 3 to like stand on a chair and be like, I have a vagina at the top of my lungs. But it wasn't, that's not even, I'm like, Mom, you should have used vulva. Like that's the correct term.
Not even technically correct. I mean, well, you do, but.
But yeah. Good times. So how are you a fan of Orson Welles in general? Or
absolutely,
is this
yes,
kind
definitely,
of, yeah?
Definitely. I mean, I was, I remember when I was in my, mid-20s, I was in New York. I had met some girl at Rudy's, that dive bar, right? It was like around the corner from my house on 9th Avenue. And she was a film student, and she was asking me my favorite films. And I did name Citizen Kane, because at the time I'd watched it a dozen times. And Citizen Kane is a movie that I've seen on the big screen about 10 times probably. And it never ceases to amaze. It's one of those things that, having watched it originally on video on TV, when you see it in the theater and all the deep focus and all that sort of stuff, it makes a huge difference. But I was really read for being basic at the time by this film student.
Oh, of course.
And
he's a film student at NYU. Like, what are you?
Yeah, I know.
There's no
rough.
movie that you could name that's going to be able to fit that bill.
Yes, I was flipping through the index of like Thai cinema in the back of my head, but I couldn't come up with anything to tell her.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, that, and then all of his later stuff. And I think that's what made that movie so interesting, because he has a lot of issues with art, getting it out there, ownership. I mean, so many of his movies that he made later in his life, after Hollywood basically blacklisted him and kicked him out, took him 10, 12 years to make, because he would work a little bit, make some money, go shoot for 2 months, run out of money, go work for another year or two, go back, shoot a little bit, work, and this movie kind of has some of that too. I mean, he made this movie in 1973, and it didn't get shown in the US until 1976.
What was it? The Magnificent Ambersons? That one. There was a lot.
Well, because he had shot it, and it was very close to the book, which is a very dour, and I guess has a very. I've never read the book, the novel it's based on.
No, I haven't either.
Apparently, it has a pretty depressing, down ending, and basically the whole family gets their comeuppance because they represent like the capitalist nouveau riche kind of thing, back at the turn of the century. So he shot the whole film. It was about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Then he went to South America to film a piece for the War Department, because it was right during World War II. And while he was gone, the studio had Robert Wise, who was the editor of the movie, come in and cut it. And they cut about 45 minutes out and then reshoot a happy ending. So he reshot like 5 minutes worth of this happy ending, and they just tacked it onto the end. And they didn't just cut they cut it and destroyed the footage, so it doesn't even exist. They cut it, just tossed it, so it's gone. I think they're afraid he would come back and try and put it back in. So
because he definitely would have come back and put it back in.
And the filmmaker Peter Bogdanovich tells a story, and he's credited in F for Fake. I think they were hanging out a lot at the time, and he was like kind of helping him. He tells us a story of they were in a hotel one night, and Magnificent Ambersons came on TV. And there's this great scene where they're all going home after this Christmas party in a car, which is like the new thing, because it's like the one family has a car. And all these people are crammed in this car. They're seeing Christmas carols going on. And he's watching this. It's like moonlit night. And he's just bawling, crying, watching it. And, he's like, and he basically is like, I wish, he's like, it's beautiful. I wish it could have been what it could have been, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he never got that back. So... And then the authorship,
and that's again so interesting, right? Because then it's a lie.
Oh yeah, it's not even
taking the real ending of the story and making it happy, lie. Right?
Yeah.
But I think that can sometimes get into maybe art that, you know, good art, bad art is all subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it could be that art that we connect with is able to, or, you know, art that, again, preference is different, but it could be that for some people it is art that treads that line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it is telling a lie to bring you to the truth versus art that is telling you a lie to cover the truth. Right. I think that could be an interesting distinction to look at, because that's certainly an example of art that's telling a lie to cover up an unhappy truth.
Oh, absolutely.
And that could be why perhaps it's not as does not feel as genuine. I think back to oh shoot, I'll have to look up his name. He's a Russian composer. He did Peter and the Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And he, not just Russian, he started out Russian and then made that bridge over to Soviet. It's Prokofiev.
Uh-huh.
And he, if you remember, Peter and the Wolf actually has a surprisingly happy ending. Like, I think only one of the animals really gets eaten by the wolf, and it could have been so much more. But he did a ballet for Romeo and Juliet, but he changed the ending to where they lived. I think Juliet wakes up right before Romeo stabs himself, and then they're in love. And he wanted to do it this way, and everybody around him was like, "You can't." And he's like, "Why not?" And they're like, "It's not Romeo and Juliet. It's something else, right?" But what it's not is Romeo and Juliet, because in the story of Romeo and Juliet, they die. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for twists and different perspectives and things like that, but there is this truth, right?
Yeah.
And it is all a lie and it's all a construct, but at the same time, we recognize that for certain stories, right, there are, even though they're fabricated, even though they're fiction, there becomes like an inherent truth to it, to the story. In Romeo and Juliet, they die.
And maybe it's, and I would say that probably is, for some audiences, that's probably a lot more palatable for them to live. Just like the happy ending, My Name Sam is more palatable. But it's just not, you know. So the truths maybe hurt too. Even and it's like, and so the audience isn't ready for it. But maybe that's what they need. I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing though, right? But then what they need isn't the story. Like, I don't know. It gets into like,
I think you have to like
then
it.
Watch a different movie.
Like, I mean, I like to be put through the ringer by things, right? I like to watch something and feel like I come out of like a prize fight and I'm all beat up, kind of. Some people are like that, and I get that's perfect. I understand not wanting that. Experience.
I mean, look, Eric, we have a whole podcast dedicated to the things that make people
right.
both happy and sad, that breaks their heart in a beautiful way, right? I love to have my heart broken in a way that helps me see the world in a more true way.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that I do really love about this piece is that, you know, it does also give a pass on art. Can feel very, and I think it's also really interesting now because, you know, the more we do film, the more everybody wants it to be real. And now there's reality television, which is incredibly fake. But there is, I think, especially with film, there is a focus on like hyper realism, right? But at the same time, like these are all stories that are being told and moved and adjusted and fabricated. And I love the permission that this gives for the contrivement. Is that a word? I don't.
Yeah, but it sounds right.
We'll find out. I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, the production, right? Because that is art.
Absolutely. And I wonder if he wasn't, you know, and the film itself, it's interesting because when you watch it, the tone is so. Because right before it gets to that there's a whole section in the middle after he's dealt with all the forgery stuff with between Emil and Clifford, and there's this whole weird scene where it looks like they're having this really awkward conversation between the two of them. But clearly they're in two different places. It's like cross-cut from two completely separate interviews. But it's like them talking to each other, but they're kind of arguing. It's really awkward and it feels uncomfortable. And then he goes into, and then he does this whole passage comes shortly after that. He gets into a little bit of his history. And when he does this, the piece that I read, and when he does it in the movie, he goes really, it's about 2 minutes longer because he really takes his time. And it just has this weight. Does. And it's like super heavy and super serious. But literally then by the end of the movie, it's also like, and it's like, oh, we got you. It's funny. It's all jokes and just comedy. And it's the whole duality right there, and it's, yeah. But he knows he wants to leave you, what mood he wants to leave you in too. It's not that mood. Yeah. But the happy mood when you're leaving, because that's what you'll go home and tell your friends about.
But he wants to take you
to
that
absolutely,
mood, right?
You gotta go all over the place. Yeah, you gotta get there. It's a journey.
What I remember about him speaking this too is you aren't quite sure where he's going with it, right? And I think he does that with the drawing it out as well, where you're like, I don't even know what word you're gonna say next.
Exactly.
What are some of the moments in this movie that stick with you the most?
Well, those. I
know we've covered a couple. Are there any?
Yeah, and this speech for sure, it does. It always hits me hard there. And then, the ending, which again, I didn't want to get too spoilery, but
we could spoil it because it's a movie that came out in 1973. Right. Sorry, Amy. He's going to spoil it.
Oh no!
Basically, at the beginning of the movie, he says, just so we clear. Everything he's like, he talks about how art is a lie. He basically does the first bit about art, art is a lie, and almost any kind of story is almost certainly kind of lie, except this one. He's like, for the next hour, everything we tell you is going to be 100% true. He's like, it's maybe unbelievable, but it's true, and that's our promise to you. And he goes on and does some other stuff, has a little bit with Oya back and forth, and he comes back and he's like, oh, just in case you didn't catch that, we're going to put it in writing in case you think we're some kind of trickery. And so the scroll goes through the screen that says, for the first hour, everything will be true. But for the first hour part, goes off really fast and then just freezes on everything in this movie will be true. So you go through, you watch all the stuff about the forgeries. And then he talks to Oya, who at this time was his partner. And I don't know if it was like a romantic thing or just a work thing. It was the 70s. There's probably a little bit of both. And there were probably weird boundaries that were, who knows what it was. And she tells,
she's also significantly, just to set it up for our listeners and Amy, she's signiantly younger than him and
she is.
Strikingly beautiful.
She's a strikingly beautiful young Hungarian woman, and just has this presence that's like, wow. The beginning of the movie, there's a whole scene when he's talking about fakery, where it's basically her walking through the streets, some Italian streets, or maybe it's France. I'm not sure where they shot that. In this mini dress, this really form-fitting mini dress, and they, without anyone on the street knowing, they were capturing all the guys, checking her out as they walk by, which was it's pretty gross, but it's it's
feels
kind of
like
funny
Italy.
Yeah, exactly. Everything I've never been. So. But yeah, and so that's her. So then she tells this story about how it all starts with her walking by Picasso's apartment every day, the house where he was living. This was in, I forget where this happened, somewhere outside of Paris. And there was a guy that was always playing the trombone outside, so she would stop and talk to the trombone, and Picasso would always come to the window and stare at her and watch her. And eventually the guy with the trombone leaves, and Picasso comes out and says, oh, she's like, what happened to the trombone guy? She asks him, and he's like, coming in. And so she goes in and she poses for him. She does all this nude modeling for him, as figure modeling, and he paints, I think, 22 pieces. But she makes a deal with him to where you're going to give me all. These are mine. I won't do anything with, but they're mine. I'm going to leave them, and somehow she convinces him. They leave it up to your imagination how she convinces him, but she's going to acquire these 22 pieces. Then he hears there's a show happening later in France, in Paris. So he goes to Paris all angry to the show, and he gets there. That has 22 pieces in the show. And when he gets there, all the pieces are in his style, but he didn't paint any of them. They're not the paintings that he did of her. And she's like, "Oh, come with me." And she introduces him to her grandfather, who's
Cool.
apparently the most famous art forger, or this secret art forger, and he's done all these Picassos. And she's like, "I'm not," because he was furious. She's like, "You're selling these paintings, I'm getting nothing." She's like, "So I'm not selling your paintings, I'm selling his paintings. We're just using your name. And we burned the original paintings you gave me." So he tells all that, and the story's like crazy, and you're like, "Oh my God, this is wild." And then he's like, "Oh, a confession." He's like, "Remember when I told you for the first hour everything we said would be true? Well, the hour's up, and for the last 17 minutes I've been lying my head off. It's all just made up." And it's like, and you're like, "Oh my God," because and like the first time I watched it, it blew my. I can't believe I didn't catch it. I can't believe I didn't track it when it was happening, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind. It was like his whole point. And then it ends like on a super happy. Like they're all like gleeful that they've like pulled this wool over our eyes. Because he's a magician too. Like he talks in the movie, he talks about it. I call myself a magician, and he quotes something Houdini said about how a magician is just an actor pretending to playing a magician, which I think is kind of interesting. I don't know if Houdini actually. You never know with Orson Welles if Houdini said it, or if someone else said it and he just quoted
Orson
it. Like
Welles said it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But and he had like because he had that whole special on TV where it was like a magic special he did with like Angie Dickinson and some other stars of the day, where he like did magic and someone shot a bullet at him that he tried to catch or something. It was
Oh no, we're gonna have to find this.
You can find it on YouTube. It's
that
hilarious.
Sounds
It's great. It's as good as it sounds. It really is. So he was big in the magic. So yeah, so it's like he's gleeful that he's pulled this magic trick on us, and that's how it ends. It ends like literally with like comic music, and then over the credits it's like scenes from, I forget, one of the old space alien invasion movies where like spaceships are blowing up Washington DC are playing over this like carnival-esque silly music as the credits roll.
Which is definitely a nod to War of the Worlds and his big
absolutely
hoax. And dear listeners, if you're not familiar with it, radio was fairly new, and or I don't know, radio had been around I guess a while, but
not that long. I mean, maybe 10 years or so. Yeah, it was because it was in the 30s.
But he, Orson Welles on, was it on Halloween?
I think it was.
I didn't know there was a certain day it was on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He does this show. He does this radio show about the world being invaded, the Earth being invaded by aliens, but the people who listened to it didn't realize that it was fiction.
Yeah, if you listen to it,
really
it sets up. Because it starts off like you're listening to a musical broadcast from somewhere in Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's like this orchestra playing in this music hall there, and you're listening to that. And then literally the show is like news break-ins during that broadcast of the alien invasion. So people didn't know it was fake, apparently, or didn't know it was a show. They missed that part. Because I guess you can't run a disclaimer at the bottom of the screen when you're listening on the radio. Like you can't on TV. So
no, and if you say at the beginning for the next hour, this is all fiction. If you don't catch that,
you don't know. So it caused a bit of a panic.
Well, thank you so much, Eric. I think
Thank you.
A podcast.
It is 100% a podcast. Yeah, thank you.
This has been absolutely delightful. I feel like we're ending on a similar note to F for Fake. Trickery. We fooled you all. It's not actually a podcast. It is. It's a podcast. Amy?
Yeah?
Do we have no, I think this would be the point in the show, dear listeners, when we would be offering a selection, 2 selections for somebody who writes in. We don't have one today, but if you would like a selection, your very own good bones, if you will, selected for you by me and Amy, you can write in on our website, findinggoodbones.com. Or email us at findinggoodbones@gmail.com. And it just give us a little bit of information about you and what you're into. And if you're comfortable, like, what's going on in your life. And we will make a recommendation for you based out of our litany of wonderful, heartbreaking, different types of media and writing.
Yes. Yes.
Other than that, thank you so much, Eric, and thank you, Amy. And thank you, dear listeners, for joining us. And please be sure to continue as we go finding good bones.